EnterTalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Hey, it's Eric Lucero
and Paul Berezetsky
of Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio. Thanks for joining us again. How are you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
Awesome. What's new with you?
Same old, trucking along. Been playing out a lot.
That's right, with Toga Party in the San Diego area.
San Diego area, lots of cool bar gigs, just, typical kind of bar band, but pretty fun. Got kind of good to get your chops down where you play enough where you just learn the songs and don't have to think about them anymore and can kind of work on stage presence and stuff like that.
Yeah, so just the playing goes into second nature and you can just worry about the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I made a cool discovery, actually. Benjamin over at Pitbull Audio recommended, I was telling you earlier, the fast fret.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Been sweating all over my strings so badly, like I haven't really gigged that much, like 3 nights in a row, like usually before, and I found that 2 nights in a row will trash your strings, and I ended up going through sets for 2 guitars, a night, and I just discovered this fast fret stuff, which is essentially just mineral oil, but in a convenient applicator. You rub it on your strings, and it was like a miracle. Like the strings just last forever.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat product. It comes in a little applicator with sort of like a feltish top where it's loaded into there.
Yep.
You just rub it down on your strings, and then you come by with the little rags that comes with it.
There's a little cloth to wipe off any excess.
Exactly. And what's cool about it too is it also conditions your fretboard, so it preserves it. Makes it nice and shiny, because I'm sure you've all seen it when a fretboard goes a bit dry, it loses its color and becomes a bit more paler.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks cool, but I like if I have a rosewood fretboard like on Paul's over there, I like it to look nice and dark.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to make a plug out of it, but I was just really impressed with that product. That's one of those things where like really delivered on what it promised.
And it's inexpensive, it's something.
It's like $7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, $7. I think it's Planet Waves or Diodario makes it. Or no.
I think GHS.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's actually GHS that makes it, and we can't recommend it enough to customers really over at Pitbull Audio. People love it, and Benjamin.
And actually, because it lubricates the strings too, your playing gets a little bit more fluid, especially if you do a lot of slide and kind of little. Funky things like that.
It greases your strings pretty much. It's pretty neat, and also it contributes to the health of your fretboard.
Yeah.
And so have you had any other things happen that's been learning experiences during the Toga Party?
That I sound crappy on cramped stages because I'm too close to my amp and can't hear what's happening.
Oh yeah.
So, if you have any control over it, you gotta give yourself enough distance from your amp. I've been using amp stands, whatever it takes, because what usually ends up happening is the singer is right at the point where my amp is the loudest, and he's like, "Turn it down." I'm like, I can't hear anything. What are you talking about?
And especially, you do it's mostly the cover circuit you do, right?
Yeah.
So not every venue is going to have monitors or even mic you up. So it's kind of difficult if you want to hear yourself in those situations. But yeah, amp and cab stands are great for that. And I've even seen some people take a little Galaxy Audio like personal monitor and have it above theirs with their guitar mic, so they can just hear it. You don't really have to go that far, but if it makes you happy, why not? I like the in-ear style myself for hearing myself on stage, but that requires extra equipment.
Yeah, extra equipment, and it's a personal preference. I don't think I've really messed around with inner ears at live shows, but some people like them, some people can't stand them. They'd rather have the stage sound or the monitor wedges. That's a personal preference.
We could spend a whole show on just that subject alone of how to get your good monitor mix. Yeah, exactly, and what makes you happy for you to reference and play right. But that is not the subject of today's show. Actually, before I go on to the subject of today's show, what's your experience with active pickups?
Virtually none. messed around on basses of other people. I don't think I've ever owned one with active. I never owned a guitar with active pickups, I don't believe. I mean, it just messed around on some here and there, but not a lot of experience, really.
But EMG is the big name in that, of course, or there's the Seymour Duncan blackouts, but you've never done active, needing a 9-volt and all that.
I never really play stuff that's that heavy where it requires the extra juice.
Gotcha, yeah. Well, there's a new player in town as it is. Well, I mean, it's been around for, I think, well over almost a couple of years now, but we're covering them today, and that is the Fishman Fluence Pickup Series, which are active pickups like the aforementioned EMGs and Seymour Duncan blackouts. What differentiates these, and we have right here, one of the sets, this is one of the signature sets for Tosin Abasi of Animals as Leaders, who I should mention will be doing a clinic at Pitbull Audio September 14th. That's a Thursday from 6 p.m. to, probably goes to about 8, 9.
If you guys are in the San Diego area, for sure coming out, it's going to be rad. And if you are out of town, tune in to EnterTalk Radio and Pitbull Audio's Facebook page. We'll be broadcasting live on Facebook, so you don't want to miss out.
Although it is technically going to be presented by Music Store Live, but we still shoot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
you'll be able to find it on the
but it's going to be shared
Pitbull
on
Audio, or sorry, on the EnterTalk Radio. Yeah,
right.
Facebook and all that. But it should be a good time, and I mean, he's one of the top players. And he is a tone hound.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, an insanely good guitar player, and he knows what he wants, and which is why he helped design these. We'll get back into his signature set in a minute, but what sets apart the Fishman Fluence from any of the other active pickups is that instead of being built like a traditional pickup where you have copper coiled winds around the magnets, the coils and the Fluences are instead printed onto a PCB board.
Oh, wow.
So where you can have a whole bunch of variances with your normally made pickups because of anything from heat and weather conditions to how many winds. And I mean, most companies are pretty consistent these days. What the coils on a PCB board and evenly placed magnets, they may use a couple different kinds, Alnico and ceramic 8 and most of the ceramic ones. What makes it better is that you have a balanced frequency response across all frequency ranges and balanced output as well, and that consistency. Other benefits for the Fluences included are hum-free operation, no noise, and no inductance issues, which are pretty common with a lot of the active pickups. So it is a very clean, very
consistent.
Yeah, consistent pickup design. And what's another thing that separates them from the rest is that all these sets come with 2 voices or multiple voices in the case of the Tosin Abasis here. But the Fishmans are made in single coil widths, as you can see on the Fret King there in his hand, or humbuckers, which is in this Will Adler here, or the Tosin Abasi set there. And there's the sets that come in black or white for the single coils, and there's the sets of 3, or you can buy them individually for setting up in single hum configurations. And the humbuckers are the classic or the modern, and then all the signature series. And the humbuckers are made in 6, 7, and 8 string routing, while the the single coils only come in 6 string. So let's hear them. Well, first going to explain the Fret King guitar here. And what's pretty neat on that for the Fluence is if you look on the back, it has the recharging plate right there. So you just plug in a little like USB sort of recharger. It comes with the cable. You can use your iPhone recharger or whatever USB-ended recharging station you have. It's a lithium-ion battery, and for about an hour and a half worth of charging, you get, in the single coils, I believe it is 300 hours of playing time from 1 hour and a half charge.
That's better than a Tesla.
Right, yeah. And I mean, none of the other actives I'm aware of are rechargeable. But,
and this is the only battery that comes in there. You can't throw a 9-volt in there. It's
on this guitar, I'm not sure, because I know with the kits that come with, when you buy a Fluence set, be it humbucker or single coil, it comes with all the wiring and and capacitors, everything else to get it set up in your guitar's control cavity. But they also include the 9-volt connection if you're not going to do the lithium-ion thing, But with the guitar, with the Fret King Corona guitar here, I'm actually not sure if it is set up for battery as well. Other things on the guitar real quick, it is an alder body, a Canadian maple neck with rosewood fretboard, Wilkinson locking tuners, and a Fulcrum like Strat style bridge there. And it is just your great classic 3 single coil sound. Let's give it a listen. Nice.
So, and the push-pull switch here activates the different voicings on the...
Yes. So voice 1 is down. Voice 2, when you pull it, is a sort of a Texas hot sort of a single coil sound, while the push down position that he was playing in is just your standard single coil type of sound.
So this would be 1. A little chunkier.
Yeah, a little bit more output on it, a little hotter.
So a little
Nice.
more quacky on 1 and fatter.
Yeah.
Yeah, got that.
That glassy response is still there. And I mean, EMG and other active companies have made single coil actives, but it's a debate and pretty much an opinion thing, as if they really sound like single coils or not. Everyone thinks differently. So far from just a clean response, how are you feeling about it?
Definitely sounds stratty. Nothing. It does sound like normal single coil Strat.
Nice. And you know, it's great and dry. It's the in-between positions 2 and 4 are getting that in-between quack for you, right? Mm-hmm. These are great instruments. Fret King is an English company that I think is co-owned by Wilkinson.
Oh, really?
But they've been getting more and more popular every year, and they were one of the first companies to really adopt them as, you know, as built-in, the Fluence systems, along with ESP, excuse me, as we see with the Adler a little later. But now let's hear how they sound with some drive. So we have 3 pedals with us today. The first one is one of the latest from Electro Harmonics. It is the Hot Wax, which combines 2 of their popular drives into one chassis there. On the right-hand side, you have the Crayon drive, and on the left-hand side, you have the Hot Tubes. You can turn each on and off individually, or turn them both on at the same time. They have a shared bass and treble. Each has their individual volume and drives, and there is a clean blend as well, so you can use this with bass or get the ever popular these days, you know, clean blended in guitar. Mm-hmm. So I have it for full distortion on the blend side and the bass and treble just sitting at noon. Let's hear it with the Crayon first. So let's hear it dry again. Now let's hear the Hot Tubes side on single coils here.
should have practiced.
It's okay, I didn't either. And one last one with both of them on.
A little trebly.
So it can get nice and hairy with both of them on, but the crayon is a transparent sort of overdrive. The hot tubes, which has been around, I think it originally came out in the 70s.
Really?
Which is old CMOS overdrive style from them that's been popular and stuck around for a long time.
Really dig that logo.
Right, yeah, it's a
Melted
crayon melting
crayon.
on a tube. It's a pretty cool
You know-
logo. They've been hitting it out in the ballpark with the graphics recently.
Yeah.
I got to hand it to them.
Don't put crayons on your tubes, guys. It's not.
Yeah, it's
good,
not
not
it's-
good for either.
It's not a great way to color your sound at all. I tried it; it did not work, and that's how you ruin a tube amp.
Yes.
But it
And a crayon.
and a crayon, really. I mean, who wants to really disgrace the good name of Crayola by putting them on tubes? But it is a snappy as hell overdrive, both sides of it, and I mean the hot tube side there being just a tad hotter, but in a good way. Any thoughts of it, of the actives with the drive so far?
Digging it. Let me hear this. That's definitely like that. The crayon bluesy, really thick and chunky.
Yeah,
the
right.
overdrive. On the neck pickup. That's on the bridge. Pretty cool.
That's
So
right, yeah.
even
Let
with
me,
the
you have to demonstrate the clean blend. I almost forgot on that. It's one of
Yeah.
the biggest features. So this is all distortion right here. Go ahead. So it allows you to keep some of that attack and brightness that's just natural to a Strat single coil,
Yeah.
but still have that dirt underneath it. I like
let's-
it.
And you can dig it a little harder if you want a little bit more of that drive and grunginess. So yeah, very very useful. Nice blend. And even all the way up with the blend, it's still a fairly transparent drive. It seems.
Yeah. It's again, there was that big trend for a couple of years of transparent drives, and I mean, Electro-Harmonix did make a great one that was very popular for us at Pitbull Audio with the crayon. So it's nice to see it combined with a bigger drive to just to be able to make some different textures.
Oh, absolutely. Any time a pedal is going to save you two drive settings in one, that's a win for me.
Absolutely, yeah, right. Help out as much as you can. Now next, we have the Horizon Devices Precision Drive. Now, I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard of this one. It was a big winner at NAMM and created a lot of hype. It is designed by Misha Mansour of Periphery, along with input from the Horizon Devices community, which I thought was pretty cool. Basically, they opened up the Horizon Devices page on Facebook, and I think on the forums on their own website, I believe. And Misha and the engineers asked the players who were interested, what do you want to hear? What do you want to see in a drive? So this will work with analog and digital rigs. Misha Mansour and plenty of others are using the Axe effects by Fractal Audio. And for controls, you have volume on here, drive, the brightness control, a 6-position attack switch here, and a built-in noise gate.
Oh, cool.
So we'll set the brightness at noon as well as the drive there, and the attack on the fattest. Sounds a little weird when I say it out loud like that, but the attack changes the Changes the focuses of the mids.
I think we got the name of your next band.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going to have to roll with that. There. I'll have to roll with that one right there. It has the most lows and mids at this, and it takes them away and changes the focus of the lows and mids as you go on. I'll leave it at its fattest for now. So let's hear some clean again. Keep on going, we'll see the drive range. Thoughts on the precision drive there?
You just took me through like a whole bunch of different sounds there.
Right? Yeah. It's especially with the attack and bright controls combined. It's pretty crazy what you can see change in there. What we found at Pitbull Audio when messing around with this when it came in is that it actually what it seemed to do best was take an already gained out amp, not necessarily dimed, but a higher gain, a driven amp already. And then control the sound coming into there and shape it a bit for attack, which is, I mean, it really is a pedal meant for the gent and contemporary harder players. It helps them tighten up the sound to where they want, and it helps them fit it into their amp rig,
and that's
be it analog or digital.
That's not always an easy feat. Normally, if you throw a drive before an already distorted amp, you never know what kind of mess you're gonna get.
Yeah. It's, then there's some tried and true combinations, the tube screamer in front of a driven Marshall and that kind of thing. So it's nice to see a device that is dedicated to already going into a gained out circuit, be it analog or digital, and being able to control it that way. Our pre-order when this was going to come out went crazy, and we've gone through a couple shipments already. It is a popular item and is a great drive for the high gain guys. We'll hear it later with some humbucker. But yeah, any thoughts of it on the single coils?
It got a little, at least in my monitors, a little bright at the more deadly settings, whatever you had going.
Oh yeah, let's go for some of that attack that it's going for.
Yeah, that gives it a nice, more of a chunkier bottom end.
And it cuts. Right?
Yep.
So it's a great gain pedal. Now we'll move on to the last one right here. This is the Mooer Modverb, one of the newer ones they've come out with, and it is a modulated reverb that is pretty simple, but it has some cool hidden features. It is a reverb plus flanger, vibrato, or phaser, which you can control with the which one going in with the mini toggle switch here. Flanger at top, vibrato middle, phaser at the bottom. Depth control, a decay control, mix in the middle. You have a tap tempo button there. And there's one more hidden feature we'll get to, but first let's just hear it. We're going to have it with decay at about half, depth at half, and mix at half. We're going to start with the flanger. So dry.
I should have practiced that too.
Right?
I don't know what I'm playing anymore.
This thing is a trip in a good way, in a fun way. So we'll set back to mid-level there. But this, it's a pretty clever little pedal, and it's nice and space-saving. Let's try the vibe there. Oh, and you can set the modulation rate with the tap tempo there, which is really what it is. So let's do it really fast for the vibrato. So if we hear one note ring, I think we can hear that the vibrato speed. Kind of. But it is well, the vibrato is a little bit more subtle than the other two. Now let's try hearing the depth up the phaser. What I just did there was if you hold down the bypass, it actually does a freeze, so. My guitar's volume is down now, and it's just the hold.
That's awesome.
And as soon as you let it go.
There's a lot of functionality in this tiny little pedal.
Right? For 80 bucks, it's a pretty good deal. And I mean, it's space saving, and yeah.
And especially like you probably don't want to clutter your board with like a phaser and a vibe and all these things that you may use, for a few minutes a night. Mm-hmm. So having one pedal that does them all and combine them with a cool reverb and sustain is impressive.
Yeah, great for 88 bucks. We're going to go to commercial break right now. We'll be back in just a minute to check out more.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on EnterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
The Mooer Entertainment Group, in conjunction with the Dario, Radio Airplay, and Looploft, is keeping music in our local schools and presenting local talent to the world through the Temecula Valley Music Awards. Submissions for entry into the TVMA 2017 season are now open in all genres, including a youth category for artists under 18 for the October 7th Star-Studded Awards Show, where 100% of the proceeds go towards supporting local music education in the Temecula Valley. Details, tvmawards.org.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Hey guys, welcome back to the second half of this episode of Sharpen the Axe. I'm Eric Lucero.
And I'm Paul Berezetsky.
And we've been checking out plenty of products that are, for the most part, Fishman Fluence centered. The Fret King Corona guitar in his hands right there. We have a set of the Tosin Abasi signature Fishman Fluence set, which we should remind our viewers out there in the San Diego or nearby areas that on September 14th, the Thursday, Tosin Abasi will be doing a performance clinic at Pitbull Audio from 6 p.m. on. It's about 2, maybe 3 hours, so 6 to 8, 6 to 9. And it'll be a good time, a great meet and greet, and we'll be giving away, I think, at least one set of these Tosin Abasi pickup sets autographed by him.
Very cool.
Or you can pick some up and get them signed by him there. Let's see. We covered also the Electro Harmonics Hot Wax, the Horizon Devices Precision Drive, and the Mooer Modverb. And what's left here is this. This is the ESP LTD Will Adler signature model. Will Adler is the rhythm guitarist for Lamb of God from Richmond, Virginia, a heavy band, a metal band that has been around for, well, geez, I think close to 20 years now. His signature model here has a mahogany body with a 3-piece maple neck, a ebony fretboard, his WA-WARBIRD graphic, and extra jumbo frets, 22 of them. And it has the Fishman Fluence modern humbucker built in. It also has the push-pull for the 2 voices on the tone knob. Now this one does not have the rechargeable battery in the back, although you can go get that like on the back of his and have it built into your guitar as well. But you can just change out the 9-volt battery, which will power him just the same. Now, Will Adler actually does have a signature set from Fluence Pickups, but those do not come on here. You can buy them separately. We can order them for you at Pitbull Audio. And actually, they got quite a roster at Fishman for the Fluence. We have the Tosin Abasis, the Will Adlers. You have the kill switch engage ones. The Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones has a signature set, and our friend Greg Koch has the Telecaster set, the Gristle Tones, which are pretty neat.
Now, have they been making electric pickups for a long time? I kind of mostly familiar with them as like an acoustic pickup.
For a few years, I want to say maybe 10 years, they've had electric guitar options. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less that they've offered. I've seen them in the recent past, but these Fluence have just taken off. And I mean, that roster you just heard of signature
really
artists.
heavy players too.
Yeah,
This is not
exactly.
your acoustic kind of gang.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, not a lot of soft players in there. Or even Greg Koch, who's a picker and a very, very good guitar player. They're all after the same thing. They're all after no noise, no hum, no inductance issues, and just articulation. And these pickups, due to that lack of noise, lack of hum, work great with high gain amps. And all these guys are really just pushing high gain all the time. So it all works in their favor, including for Will Adler here, who had some Seymour Duncan signatures, but instead went over to these. So these are, again, not his signature model. These are the Fluence Moderns. There's also the Fluence Classic humbuckers, which we don't have anything loaded with them, so we couldn't bring them. But this has 2 voices. The switch down is the modern sort of active voice, and pulled is a more passive voice. So let's hear the modern voicing first. That's on bridge, and let's go to the passive voice now. So a little less gain actually on voice 2 rather than voice 1. And across most of these Fluence pickups, that tends to be the trend. Voice 1 will be sort of more classic to what it's trying to, I keep trying to avoid the word modeling or imitate, because it's not modeling and it's not imitating. It's just a different way of operating a pickup, an active pickup. But a lot of them are, voice 1 classic and not as hot, voice 2 much hotter output, and this or that emphasized. In this case, it's opposite, but also in this Tosin Abasi set, this is one of the more unique ones out of the set, because it actually has 3 voices. Voice 1 is the modern voiced active pickup. Voice 2 is passive, and voice 3 is single coil. So that's what's pretty cool about these. If I was to go for a Fluence set, I would actually probably grab these Tosin Abasis and load them onto something. But versatility is really nice.
And do you know with these, if your battery or your charge does run out, do they just go passive, or is?
No, they need juice. They need 9 volt or the charge. And luckily, as we said, you do have that lithium battery ion cannot say the word lithium ion battery option.
Actually, can you stick like a like what was portable batteries for a phone that you carry with you? Can you just kind of have that like on your strap and?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, if you had a connection to make it work, I wouldn't say why not, but I don't know if that how well that would work. I don't see why not. But
this would be something to try right after melting a crayon on your tube.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, well, that didn't work. So let's see what portable charging devices we can stick into these active pickups.
Yeah.
They all have a kind of different battery lives. Like the single coil sets have 300. I think it's one has 170. The other has 200-hour battery life. But these are all of like an hour and a half charges. And I mean, I don't know anyone playing 300 hours in a row or needing to. So of course you'd be charging them in between. But again, that clear consistency and frequency response is very much well worth it. Let's actually go to the neck. Voice 1 is voice 2. Now,
I think on that particular guitar, voice 2 is the lower gain, because that's where you're like one ballady song maybe in between a couple of thrashers.
Right, yeah, or you actually need clean tone, but that is one that runs the difference between the rest of them, where voice 1 is lower gain, voice 2 that's inverted on these.
Or the hotter one is popped in?
Popped out.
Popped out?
Yeah. It's at least I thought I was reading that right. Voice 1 is down, voice 2 is
so
pulled,
same as this one, right?
Yeah. So, or actually, on most of them, they're like yours. On this one, it's hotter, less output, more output.
Oh, so well that's good, because if you're starting off with like intro and then you hit a hot lead or something, just
slam it down, right? Yeah,
and go to work.
And it's I'm sure you could wire it differently, or I'm sure if you could figure it out with your local tech, put it on a mini toggle instead or something. I would like that. Voice 1 or 2 on a little mini toggle. But that is not the way these came wired with them, so we deal as we need. Now let's hear it through. Hit that. This is a bridge on voice 1.
Pretty hot pickups already, so not as much of a difference that I'm hearing adding like a little bit less or more drive as on the Strat.
Yeah, these are pretty damn hot. Yeah,
even on clean, I'm hearing quite a bit of breakup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is pushing the Mesa Boogie F50 or F150. F50. We always use.
F150 is the Ford truck.
That's right. Yeah. I like the name for it in Mexico better. They market it as the Ford Lobo down there.
Oh, that's right, the Wolf.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'd rather have that badge. Let's see voice 2 on the passive one. Definitely plays great, and I love the particular snap that Ebony has as a fretboard wood. And it also, by the way, if you look at how thin this thing is compared to other Les Paul designs, this is a light single cut design. It won't strain you.
Cool heel design too.
If we could get on that, yeah. The heel of this thing looks pretty neat. I like the way they did the paint job on it, and it is a satin finish neck, so it is playing rather nicely. Now, actually, let's hear the other one, the hot tubes, and that one's a little bit more. Oh, wow, that was terrible.
Cool kind of sweet spot here about 3 o'clock on the blend. Where
yeah? Is that where it is now?
Oh, so this is all the way. Right there you're hearing a little bit of the natural amp going through, but it's still being, it's still broken up through those hot pickups, but just in a interesting. Try them together?
Yeah.
Just gonna dime you out on everything.
Good. So surprising amount of versatility available in that hot wax right there.
Yeah, lots of different combinations that you could try. You could blend the two drives together. There's the blend knob. There's the individual volumes.
So you can choose how hard they hit each other when you cascade one into the other.
Exactly.
And as I said, that I was surprised by the treble on that bass and treble. When you want it to cut, it cuts.
Oh yeah, I never went past like 1 or 2 o'clock on the treble even on this.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got plenty of more room if you want to blow out somebody's eardrums.
Yeah, it is definitely a powerful drive.
If your lead singer is being super obnoxious, you always have a secret weapon.
just blow them out of the water. And also, again, it works great for bass since it has that clean blend in there too. And there's also a number of keyboardists out there and organ players, some players who are using their pedals in their rigs.
Yeah.
So
I
give
bet
it a shot.
This would give you a very cool John Lord kind of Hammond organ for this thing.
Nice and driven. Now on the more modern, tight sort of genty side, which again, I guess we're gonna get hate because neither of us gent, despite using a gent device here, but. Let's give this a shot right here.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. This is the best we can do. We just rely on technology instead of skill.
Yeah, I'll roll with that.
Gent away.
Oh, that's Mastodon, the mother load. Yeah.
Nice.
But again, it's one of those things where, if you had a gained out sort of, JCM 800 amp, they would really show its colors.
We
but
should really run we mic our amp in another room, so it's not very easy to hit a overdrive on that. It would have been interesting. I should have known to set up.
It's all good, but
because by itself it's not like a super heavy drive, but I can see how it's kind of contained enough to where you're throwing it in front of a juiced out amp.
Yeah, exactly. And it's meant to tighten up a sound, so it's it's a tone shaper as well as an overdrive, really. So hitting something that can be like a 5150, that's just all out. I can definitely see where this would make a crazy difference. But it is an interesting sort of a shape device with this attack switch here. Oh, and I'm on neck pickup right now on the Modder. Actually, you know what? Let's try the CMOS into it.
Experimented with it if you're using it with another drive, if you want it before or after?
I haven't had a chance to yet. These things fly off the shelves whenever we get them in, so I never have a chance to take one home. We just happen to have a store demo one out, so I snagged it for today. But I mean, yeah, I would think you'd probably put it early.
Yeah.
I put it after to see how it will react with the dual overdrive going into it, but it seems to want to go into gain.
Right.
So maybe I should have put it front first, but still, it does its job, and it's very effective with that low mid focus and the attack switch there.
Yeah, the attack knob definitely gives you a bunch of different flavors to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. And 6 positions, you'll be able to fit it with 99% of your guitars out there, unless you really have something weird. Which I'm the one most likely to have something super weird that won't work with this. But so far, so good. Now, last but not least, I'm gonna go phaser. But let's hear the Fluence modern humbuckers with this. Gonna go passive voice on the neck.
And this controls the mix for all the effects, the reverb and the modulation?
Yeah, although the depth it also helps with the modulation. So if I, let's take it to like 3/4 there and tap tempo it there.
No, so it seems like for the most part you could control the modulation independently with these, with the decay and the depth.
Yeah, it is kind of a set and forget thing, pretty much. Although I wonder, I'm sure someone will find that that great area between all three where you can flip between them.
Oh, like one setting that's that's the best for all of them.
Yeah, I mean, well, it might be possible for some, might not for others. Depends what you're looking for, but.
Yeah. This is kind of like a one-stop shopping space machine. That little pedal.
Yeah, it's a great one for like the shoegaze artists. Which I definitely enjoy that kind of stuff, and all the ambient and atmospheric kind of people. And actually, you know what? I would run this kind of like I would the Hot Wax. I would run this with keys and synths too for those cool overhangs. So this would sound cool through a B3 or something that's Leslie'd and swirling already.
For sure.
Just add some more on top of it. Now it's definitely playing on that modulated reverb thing that's become popular. Plenty of companies out there are doing that now. Where have you stood on your reverb? Modulated or just spring or?
I definitely like the modulated ones, and I like the ones with the shimmer on top, where like the big sky, that type of stuff. I really like that. Kind of make you feel like you're in a cathedral kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like that big church sound these days. But Mooer actually does make another reverb. I forgot what it's called off the top of my head. It's in a blue casing that will do the shimmer thing as well without having to spend the Strymon dollars. And this thing is only $88. And while we're on it, the Horizon Devices precision drive is $220, and the Hot Wax is just short of $112.
What about you with the modulated reverb? So one of the things with all sorts of modulation and reverb effects, they sound one way when you're messing around in a store or in a room, and it could be a completely different thing when it's live on stage, and God knows what kind of a sound environment you're in. Does that stuff, have you played gigs with that kind of stuff? Does it tend to get lost, or does it cut through?
I tend to make it cut through because that's what I want, that modulation to really stand out in that sound. So I'll cut some bass off of my amp, or make sure my tone is all the way up. If it's one of my guitars that actually has a tone control on it, to make it stand out some. But there seems to be a move now towards a little bit of flexibility on the modulation. So, say for example, our friends at Paradox with the Arquitecto, you can kind of choose a darker or brighter modulation on the Arquitecto now. And a couple other companies that have modulated reverbs are doing that, where you have your reverb controls and the modulation in the reverbs controls separate. Which I like. I'm never one to shy away from more knobs.
More knobs to tweak.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like take a Big Sky for example. I mean, there's like what
tiny
6,
switches
7, 8,
everywhere.
yeah. Which that's popular as it is, and it's not intimidating to me. It's just more I can control and shape, as you said, for an environment. One thing that will definitely not be an issue in any environment is any 60 cycle hum or any gain sounds with these Fluence pickups, quiet as they are going in. Actually, no, we haven't tried yet. Drive into the reverb.
How do we forget that? That's a secret weapon function right there.
Right? Yeah.
That's huge.
And that's, again, that oscillation, I mean, it used to be that us noise guys is, secret weapon. And now it's becoming more popular. Like even I have a Paradox custom coming reverb-wise, but my other reverb, I've been using a Mantic Axiom. It has a dedicated oscillation on there. So
it's very musical. It's not just like random noise. It's whatever you're doing seems to make sense.
It's actually usable, in that respect. And it's great for like big cascading endings or stuff like that, or when you hold out a note, kind of like we did in that little run I did there. But well, we're almost out of time. But thank you very much for joining us, guys. We hope you learned something about these Fluence Pickups by Fishman. And if you're in the San Diego area on September 14th, please join us at Pitbull Audio for the Tosin Abasi of Animals as Leaders Clinic,
which we will also be broadcasting on Facebook Live. So if you can't join in person, definitely tune in. It's going to be going out through
Music Store Live and EnterTalk Radio. I think you guys will
Facebook pages.
And it is presented by Fishman Pickups.
Thanks for tuning in. Lots of cool toys this time. We'll be back in a little while with more fun stuff. Thanks for tuning in. This has been
Sharpen the Axe with Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on EnterTalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?